Good day, fellow scapers. My name's Deck, but please call me Hobo, and welcome to my next Revolution guide. If you're looking for a guide that requires that you have no experience, can be done on Revolution++, is Necromancy only, and is beginner friendly, then you've come to the right place. So starting off, the first thing that you're going to want to do, if you don't have them already, is buy the ceremonial robes directly off of the GE. This will cost you about 250,000. It's not much in the grand scheme of things. And then another prerequisite item that you're going to need as well is the frozen key, which can be obtained by getting all the pieces from the factions in God Wars Dungeon 1. Now I will say this, it is worth paying 10 million to the woman in the next bank with the ceremonial robes and the frozen key, because it means that you won't need to get any kill count moving forward, and you won't need to obtain another frozen key as well. By paying 10 mil and providing the woman with the ceremonial robes and the frozen key, it means you can quickly teleport into next once you've got your first kill, and you won't need to obtain any of the prerequisite items again. So for now, let's set aside your ceremonial robes and let's put on our battle armour. Here's what you're going to need. Your best Death Warden armour, I would highly recommend tier 90 for this. I would also recommend using tier 90 weapons, but you'll likely be able to get away with tier 80. It is worth noting you may need to address some of the mechanics instead of face tanking them, as you won't be healing as much back and the fight will inevitably go on for a little bit longer. You'll want a Wen book for this, as it intermittently deals small amounts of damage in rapid succession, which is brilliant for Nex due to her soft hit caps. You'll want a good DPS ring, like a Ring of Death. I wouldn't recommend a Revo ring, as it will reduce your accuracy, which is already a little bit fizzy with Nex. You'll want a Blood Amulet of Fury for additional heals, and of course your best Necro cape. I'm using Zuck, but I wasn't using Death Skulls in this rotation, so it doesn't matter too much. So you'll see my perks next. They aren't best in slot for Nex, as I was using a generic setup, but Biting and Relentless on the top are pretty good. I use the Devotion setup for my bottoms, which have no effect at all, as we are only going to be using the Soul Split. So instead, it would be worth putting on Impatient 4. On my offhand, I was using Equilibrium 4, and on my main hand, I was using Precise 6. Speaking of being precise, you'll be wanting to use an Ice Nihil for this, as it will help increase your accuracy, and of course with Necromancy, it means that it will directly increase your damage. Now moving on to relics. I wasn't using most of these relics, I was using ones that had no effect on the fight, but if you're going to be camping Nex for a long time, I would recommend the following. Use Death Ward for damage reduction, especially on P4 and 5. Fury of the Small helps you activate your Ghost and Reflect through its passive adrenaline gain, and the Font of Life gives you a little bit more HP as well. Now it's worth remembering to use your HP boosts at both Wars, Retreat, through the Bonfire, and in the Anachronia pool as well. Now let's talk inventory. You'll want to bring the following with you: Overloads and Renewals, Ectoplasm and Note Paper, and this is for the Saradomin Brew and Restore flask drops. You'll want Runes for Darkness and Deathmark. It's worth bringing an Excalibur and a Shard if you have one. And please bring Vom Bombs and a Vit Pot. Of course, you're also going to want to bring food, brews, and a Restore Potion. There are 4 abilities you'll need to help you with the fight. Darkness and Deathmark. Both will reduce damage throughout the fight, as well as making the end part of the fight a lot faster. Bone Shield. It allows the use of defensives without a shield, which is going to be essential for this rotation, or this Revolution bar. Split Soul. This is one way to hit necks a little bit harder despite the soft hit caps. I would also suggest maxing out your Well of Souls tree for all of your conjures, as it will help them last that little bit longer and hit that little bit harder. In terms of your Revolution bar, you'll want to be using the following. Conjure Ghost. This is super important for passive heals and increased damage output. Reflect. This is why you needed the Bone Shield, as you're going to be hitting necks a little bit harder passively using Reflect, and of course it will reduce the amount of damage taken. Conjure Skeleton. Now this guy is OP wherever he goes. He is also particularly important here as he often won't hit any of the soft hit caps for necks. Touch of Death. This will give you your Necrosis stacks, which will be needed for DPS checks. Soul Sap. Volley of Souls for Soul Dump. On your bar, you'll also want the following. Von Bomb, so next takes more damage. Split Soul. Finger of Death. Now this will predominantly be used in P3 to pass the DPS checks, however you can use it later on in the fight too. Death Mark and Darkness. Vit Pot also, as this will be essential for the phase where Nex casts Ice Prison. You'll be able to face tank the second one if you get it, as long as you eat food. So, I'm going to take you through the phases next, just so you understand what it is that you're going to be looking out for and what to expect. So let's talk phase 1. This is typically called the smoke phase because normally Nex is poisoning you with their cigarette breath, so this means you're going to be taking some poison damage. In terms of her rotation, she starts with her fag breath attack, and she does 5 auto attacks, and then she'll run into the middle of the room, dragging anyone in her way with her. It is also worth noting at any point she has a drag ability where you'll be stunned and bound next to her intermittently. Now, the optional thing, which you can do if you want for your development, is to prevent the drag by using Anticipation, or fix and prevent the drag using Freedom. Guess what we're going to do with this setup though? That's right, we're going to face tank it. At the beginning of the fight, you are going to want to press the Von Bomb, and then you're just going to let Revo take over. Now once she drops from 200k HP to 160k HP, she'll become immune, and then you're going to need to smack a minion in the northwest corner. He has a hard hit cap, but don't worry, just let Revolution finish it off. Now that's done, you'll be in phase 2, also known as the Shadow phase. Nex will challenge you and drag you into the Shadow realm for a duel, but little does she know we have a couple of cards of her own. When she turns the room dark, she's going to drop a shadow trap on the floor which hits like a small truck, and she will continue to do so after every 4 auto attacks. Now one option is to keep an eye on the ground looking for a little circle of darkness on an already pitch black screen. My preference though, face tank it and send her ass to the Shadow Realm. No Monster Reborn is going to be helping her. Now after this, obviously you're just going to be Revoing your way to victory, and when her HP reaches 120k, it's time to start on the northeast minion. Once that minion is dealt with, it's on to phase 3, the blood phase, aka mosquito phase. Now this is technically where her DPS phase is. She'll start the phase by shouting, "A siphon will solve this," and she'll summon a couple of minions. During this time, she's going to have her wings up in the air, and any attack done to her will heal her. After this, she'll do 3 auto attacks and then turn you into a blood sacrifice where if you're too close to her, she will take some of your HP for her own. Gotta hate those damn mosquitoes. She'll then do another 3 auto attacks and it will go on repeat. Now remember when I said we had a couple of cards of our own? Now we're going to use them. We've been saving up Necrosis stacks for this exact reason. We will wait for Nex to drop her wings. We'll use a Vuln Bomb. We're going to press the Split Soul ability, and then we're going to use Finger of Death twice. This is an adrenaline-free, guaranteed fly swap. And after using these abilities, let Revolution finish her off. Don't worry if she uses Blood Sacrifice, you're going to out DPS her. Once she reaches 80k HP, move on to a minion in the southeast corner, and of course, let Revo take him out. Now after this is done, this is going to take us on to phase 3, also known as the Ice phase, where Nex turns into the Witch from Narnia, and it can get a little bit exciting. But it's alright, again, we've still got a few cards up our sleeves. Depending on what part of the blood phase that you finish on, she is going to start on either Ice Prison or an ability called Ice Barrage. These special attacks will be separated by 3 auto attacks, and they will be on repeat. With Ice Prison, she will yell, "Die in a prison of ice." Now something that is optional is to use Freedom, which will remove the stun, and then you can use Resonance, where her attack or her auto attack afterwards will heal you. And that's after you've been hit in the face by the ice. Not that that's really Revolution though. So instead, you can just sip a Vit Pot and of course, face tank it. After this, eat back to full, still letting Revo do its thing, and when she yells "contain this," just make sure that you're standing well away from her. This attack hurts a little bit, but it also stuns you, which is a real pain, and if you've already been hit by the Ice Prison, you'll probably not want to be feeling like Mr. Tumnus anymore. Just stand a little away from her and whittle her down to 40k HP and keep your own HP up. I've been unlucky a couple of times with this setup and face tanked the Contain This as well as 2 Ice Prisons, and I still have plenty of food left at the end of the kill. Now once she's down to 40k HP, kill the minion in the southwest corner. After this has been done, she'll move into the Zaros phase. Her HP doubles up to 80k again, and she develops a soft hit cap of 2k. My advice is to use a Vuln Bomb and then use Death Mark, as this means that if she gets down to 30k HP, she'll just die. If you have plenty of food left over, also consider using Split Soul as well. With this setup, you'll easily out DPS her. When she dies, she does feel a little bit vindictive and yells, "Taste my wrath." What can I tell you? Hell hath no fury like a woman scorned, and right now she is feeling pretty scorned. Walk or run about 5 tiles away, and to be honest, she may as well be feeling scorned by herself. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to take you through a full kill just so you know what it is that you're looking at, and we're going to start here. So I walk in, I start hitting Nex. Now one of the mistakes that I made was I didn't actually use a Vuln Bomb to start off with, at least not straight away. I get dragged in and they get stunned as well. It's not a massive issue. She then tries doing the There Is No Escape attack. However, I wasn't in her direct way, so I wasn't dragged in anyway, so it doesn't really matter. Shortly after this, I phase her and she moves into phase 2. But what I do need to do is take on Fumus. He has 10k HP. I let Revolution run in, kill him off, and you'll notice that my skeleton and my ghost start working on him as well. After he's taken care of, we then continue into phase 2, which is the smoke phase. Darken my shadow, she then summons the shadow underneath me, which you'll notice hits me for 4,500. I completely ignore the mechanic and carry on hitting her. Now I do get a lucky Wembook proc here, and it takes her to quite close to 120k HP. At this point, I'm already moving over onto Umbra. Revolution finishes off Umbra, and then you'll notice that Nex says something like, "Flood my lungs with blood," and then a siphon will solve this. Now I don't do anything off this, in fact I'm clicking on the floor to make sure that I'm not attacking her. Her wings drop, and straight away I use a Vuln Bomb, I use Split Soul, and then I use my 2 Finger of Deaths. Takes her to about 90k HP, and then Revolution finishes her off. That's the DPS phase done, by the way. We then move on to Crew War. Revolution finishes off Crew War, and then that will take us into Ice phase. Now you notice I get a little bit of space from her just in case she does the contain this, but she doesn't. She does the die now in a prison of ice. I sip a vitality potion and then get hit by the ability and then just start eating. We let Revolution bring her down. I do still maintain that space though, just in case I get a contain this, which happens about now, but I've already got enough space to move away, and I'm on to Glacis. Another prison of ice attack. However, you'll notice that my skeleton and my ghost aren't affected by that, and they carry on and they finish off Glacis. Now, at this point, we then move into the Zaros phase. Her HP doubles, and at that point, again, all I'm doing is I'm going to cast Death Mark. As soon as she gets to 30k HP, she'll die, and then I use the Finger of Death ability twice. And I think at this point, yeah, I've also got Split Soul up as well. She goes 30k HP, and then she dies. As simple as that. That is exactly what a typical full run will look like for me, and that's with a couple of scuff bits as well. So thank you very much for watching. If you would like to, please drop a like and subscribe to the channel. I'm trying to bring out more and more of these types of videos. I am also thinking about releasing a series in the future as well, which at least I'm going to find personally quite exciting. So yeah, like I said, drop a like and subscribe, and potentially catch you in the next episode. Have a good one.